A silent war is being waged right now in the modern dating world. And it's not men versus women, but fear versus science. It's oxytocin, the love hormone, versus a digital dogma of dominance. Serotonin, our wellspring of well-being, shadowed by a cult of control. Attachment theory, the blueprint of bonding, challenged by a creed of conquest. Welcome to the battleground of red pill ideology versus the real science of bonding. A battle where the essence of human connection is twisted into a game of manipulation. Look, guys, I know that I've showed you the dark side of red pill before, and a lot of gurus and their audiences have shown up in my comment sections to try to debate me. Someone claiming to be Rollo Tomasi's film producer tried to call me out for showing the harm that red pill does to women. But this isn't just a debate. It's a crisis of connection. Red pill teachings, masquerading as male empowerment, are eroding the very core of what could be healthy relationships. They're promoting a world where manipulation trumps mutual respect, and where the game of power overshadows the hope of genuine connection. So imagine the fallout. Bonds broken before they even form. A deficit of serotonin in brains that plunges your heart into loneliness. A breach in trust that turns love's sanctuary into a battlefield. I have spoken not only with men who come out the other side of red pill feeling more broken than ever, more lonely and miserable before. I've also spoken with a tremendous number of daughters of older red pill men. Men who plunge headlong into this head trash after a nasty divorce, and then they throw away their relationship with their daughter because their daughter happens to be a woman, and he has to unload all that anger on her. Imagine being a teenage girl who loves her father, but your father looks you in the eyes and says some of Rollo Tomasi's favorite quotes. "There is no such thing as a high-value woman, sweetheart. You're just a woman, and you'll betray me like everybody else." Imagine loving your father and being thrown away like that. Did you know that Rollo Tomasi has a daughter? I wonder if he says those things to her. His cult-like followers have daughters too, by the way. And I've spoken to some of those daughters who are as heartbroken as their dads are for rejecting them because of the red pill. Their dads plunge into this fear, and their daughters are left behind. So, if you want to be a guy who wants to emotionally abuse your wife and your daughters, don't watch this video, because this video is going to peel back the curtain on how red pill teachings are destroying not just romances, but families. And not just bad marriages are being impacted. I've worked extensively with women hurt by former partners who went from being anxiously attached men and then diving into the red pill to try to figure out how to manipulate that woman into giving them sexual desire and sexual needs. And they dive into red pill and they turn controlling and domineering. They demand that their wife suddenly start sharing them with random girls that he's met from Tinder. These guys rip apart otherwise healthy relationships that were headed for marriage or already married for the false pleasure of hookups and dopamine. And these women are left devastated, okay? Good women, loving women. So today we stand at a crossroads. Are we going to let the red pill doctrine dictate the future of our connections out of fear? Or are we going to reclaim the narrative and forge a world where relationships are built on the bedrock of respect, understanding, and genuine attachment as it relates to science? Scientific fact, you guys. Major bonding hormones that red pill ignores. So if you don't believe that the earth is flat, and if you don't believe that the sun rotates around the earth, why do you believe in red pill doctrine when it actively ignores basic medical science that is proven fact? The choice is yours, and that choice starts now. Let's dive in and talk about how red pill is hurting both men and women from a biological and cognitive perspective. Red pill teachings oppose the actual science of human bonding in three key ways. Okay, three ways that we're going to go through. Number one is bonding chemicals. Number two is how attachment works. And number three is diagnosable personality disorders. We're going to go through all three in order to show you the truth behind the lies. Now, the science of bonding chemicals, this is what you need to understand. 6 bonding chemicals that matter in your brain. Okay. Number one is oxytocin. This is the love hormone. This is the hormone that releases when you feel loved and cared for and safe. You're supposed to get a lot of this with your mom. A lot of guys today don't get this with their mom. You are supposed to get this in childhood and with friends and with family. You're supposed to get this when you feel loved and accepted. Now, a lot of people do not get it. The research, 4 different studies over the last 25 years have indicated at least 50% of the adult population of the United States has attachment issues. So they are not getting adequate oxytocin bonding because they're afraid of connections. 50%. Okay? 4 different studies confirm this. Oxytocin is crucial for healthy long-term bonding. Now, when you don't have adequate oxytocin, you don't get adequate GABA, G-A-B-A, gamma-aminobutyric acid. This is the natural anti-anxiety and antidepressant you need in your brain to suppress cortisol, to become resistant to stress. You need oxytocin and warmth and intimacy and bonding with people so that you can then become stronger against stress. You also need something called vasopressin. Now, the research on this is fascinating. Dr. Sue Carter is the leading expert on vasopressin bonding in mammals in the world, and she lays out this research with vasopressin bonding. When you resolve cortisol, you bond together with the other person as an ally. You've seen buddy cop movies. You've seen films where people start not liking each other and then they like each other by the end of the film. Have you ever seen Romancing the Stone? Vasopressin bonding says we work well together. Let's stay together. And then it loops back around to inspire oxytocin bonding. You're supposed to solve challenges. The research also indicates that couples who vasopressin bond routinely stay together and actually experience multiple honeymoon phases during the course of their marriage. So vasopressin is enormously important. Number 4, serotonin. This neurotransmitter activates and floods your system to make you feel content and happy and joyful. Real happiness is a mixture of serotonin and oxytocin. You tend to release them at very similar times when you feel close and connected with other people. Now, a lot of guys, especially red pill guys, focus on scraping the bottom of the barrel for serotonin because they don't get it in the relationships. They get it instead through fitness, through nutrition, and maybe fun activities. But not much. You get a little bit. And if you miss one day at the gym, your life is a disaster. Instead, they're getting dopamine. Dopamine fixation. Over and over and over because their brain looks like this. This is why one woman is the same as any other. Because it's all a dopamine binge. It doesn't matter if she's real or on a screen. Dopamine. If you're watching this video and it seems like it would be easier to have somebody guide you through this, a mentor to show you exactly what to do step by step in applying everything you're learning here, you need to join the Attachment Circle Mentorship Program. I will work with you personally for an entire year in 100+ group calls. Plus, you're going to get the support of a growth-minded community of other individuals who will be companions on your journey, people you can trust, people you can work with, and people you can practice these skills with. If you want to join us, join the Attachment Circle Mentorship Program. There's a link below in the description. I'll see you in there. Now, the 6th chemical you need to know about is cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone, and when you release a ton of it, it blocks your oxytocin reception, which really shuts down your GABA production, makes you more susceptible to cortisol. And if you don't have really good connections with people, you may actually run away from people instead of solving problems with them and solve them alone. And then you're probably not going to get much serotonin because you're so fixated on all of that. So then you're going to cope with dopamine over and over and over and over and over. Okay? That last one is the primary driver with red pill because of insecure attachment. Anxiously attached guys are craving oxytocin, but then they crave it from women who give it to them transactionally, usually avoidantly attached women who hurt them. We'll talk about this later. And then it makes them afraid of oxytocin. So then their brain looks like this. So then they figure out how to be avoidantly attached and get dopamine from other people without ever building those other connections. So really, it turns you from craving oxytocin but not having much brain chemistry at all into craving dopamine and not having much brain chemistry at all. This is the red pill shift, you guys, from this to this. Now, you are supposed to go like this and get all of those bonding chemicals together. That's the brain chemistry with secure attachment style. That's what I teach. That's why I teach it. It's because I don't want you to go from this to this. I want you to go from this to this and build fulfilling, loving, thriving relationships that your brain chemistry is built for. Now, that last piece that we talked about, insecure attachment, that's the driving force between red pill and insecure men. That's the driving force between red pill conversions and teachings. They focus on power dynamics and manipulation. Here's what you really are supposed to do in relationships. Securely attach relationships with those 50% of men and women who are able to securely attach, or with people who learn secure attachment. You connect to other people. You bond with them. You share your needs openly. You discuss challenges in advance. You're reasonable and unemotional when you're discussing problems. You have conflict resolution skills. You solve problems together. This whole argument about red pill and feminism and divorce rates, it means very little to securely attached people because they are properly bonded. They think, that sounds stupid. Why would you have to manipulate your partner? Why wouldn't you just talk to them? Those couples look at each other and say, this sounds stupid. Why would somebody do this? This is exhausting. Then they go happily solve their problems together and then get back to the business of enjoying their life. Their brains look like this. This is secure attachment. So they think this is stupid. I'm not making this video for securely attached people because they don't care about red pill. They're off having a wonderful life. That's how secure attachment relationships work. You solve problems with your partner. There is no power dynamic struggle. Anxiously attached men, though, believe that they are innately unlovable. Avoidantly attached men don't usually become red pill. Avoidantly attached guys are usually out there having success, having sex with insecurely attached women, so they don't worry about red pill. Anxiously attached men who grew up believing that they had to please their mom, but they were desperately afraid she would abandon them, and now they're afraid of judgment, they're afraid of rejection, they're afraid of abandonment, and they get chased around by all the stronger guys, and they get left behind in dating. Maybe they connect with a woman who's more avoidant or more hurtful, and she gives them good feelings, but then takes from them. And they get burned and hurt, and then they say, well, what's the answer? And they go online, why aren't women nice? Why won't women have sex with me? And what do they find? Women won't have sex with you because they are loveless monsters who are incapable of bonding with you. Their brain chemistry is wrong. They are animals. They are barely human. You alone as a man are strong enough, but you alone as a man are being targeted. Our community is the only one where you will feel safe. Come in and let us teach you how to get sex from these animals. That's the message of red pill, you guys, boiled down in a nutshell. When you really peel back those layers, that's what you find, okay? Power dynamics of manipulation. So these anxious men say, wow, I'm not the problem. Women are the problem. Okay, well, what do I do? So then red pill teaches you dread game, make her afraid, right? Some red pill teachings encourage you to say this, hi, babe. We're married. Yes, we've been married for 5 years. I'm having sex tonight. You are the first person who gets a chance to have sex with me. Would you like to say yes or no? That's a hell of a choice. What do you think's going to happen later on during the divorce proceedings? What do you think she's going to say you did? Not good, you guys. That's power dynamics. That's not even love. That's like this at her expense. Okay? Anxiously attached men pursue unhealthy women, then think women are the problem and get taught women are the problem. Then they become avoidant so that they can avoid and take power and control. So then who do they connect with? Well, it's not secure women typically who give into this. Maybe sometimes they're confused by it and they might give them a shot. Usually it's insecurely attached women who are also hurt. Anxiously attached women who crave approval. They're trying to earn approval and love by angry men who now hate women, who treat them like garbage, who get hurt. And they're forced to accept things that they think are not okay, but they say, well, I don't really deserve love, so I guess if he's going to treat me this way, I don't really get to say anything. This creates massive chemical issues, you guys. Huge moral and ethical implications, by the way, on both sides. Gigantic problems, and it burns out everybody. Imagine having kids in that dynamic. I was hurt before, but now I'm the aggressor and I take control of women and my wife is always miserable and unhappy. And now we have daughters. And that's the reality of a lot of red pill fathers. Looking at Rollo Tomasi. I have no idea what his relationship is like with his daughter, but I guess we'll find out someday. Guys, all of these teachings, they're contrary to actual science, okay? All that oxytocin bonding, right out the window. Doesn't matter. Low GABA, who cares? No vasopressin, no vasopressin. Oh, well. Almost no serotonin. I'll just work out. Dopamine, yeah. I'm going to get dopamine at her expense. I don't care if it hurts her. This will be fun. Cool. Good luck in jail. And then those red pill guys circle back around and say, well, there's all these charges against men. Yes, there are. There are really active, bad, fake women out there who are truly capable of real, legitimate evil. There are. Men and women both. Guys, I worked in corrections for years. I worked with death penalty inmates. I worked with women who tried to harm their husbands. I worked with husbands who harmed their wives. I've seen this, so it's not news to me. I worked in the criminal justice system. I worked in family court systems. I was a licensed marriage and family therapist for many years. I know that our system is legally stacked against men. I also know that securely attached, healthy women whose brains are like this don't run frantically into that system to lovingly and happily and joyously rip you apart for no reason, just so that she can have sex with a stranger. That's more really damaged women whose brains look like this. We'll talk about that here in a moment. Now, in looking at these teachings, here's what I believe is happening. Red pill guys are primarily modeling their view of women on something called borderline personality disorder or antisocial personality disorder. That's those women who will joyfully hurt you for their own pleasure. This is enormously destructive. Now, I'm not demonizing women who suffer with personality disorders. They legitimately suffer. But there are some women who have personality disorders that are legitimately evil. Don't hate the person, but the diagnosis is destructive. And some people are truly evil. Some people are suffering, and some people are truly evil and turn that suffering outward. Okay? If you're watching this video and it seems like it would be easier to have somebody guide you through this, a mentor to show you exactly what to do step by step in applying everything you're learning here, you need to join the Attachment Circle Mentorship Program. I will work with you personally for an entire year in 100 plus group calls. Plus, you're going to get the support of a growth-minded community of other individuals who will be companions on your journey, people you can trust, people you can work with, and people you can practice these skills with. If you want to join us, join the Attachment Circle Mentorship Program. There's a link below in the description. I'll see you in there. Borderline personality disorder in particular creates an overwhelming chaos factor where you will endlessly pour your love into her and she likely is going to destroy you. Very likely. Now, healthy, secure, calm men can often push back against borderline personality disorder, against chaos, against those boundaries. They'll build boundaries. They'll do all kinds of things. They often won't get taken in by those behaviors. So they don't have to really be afraid of women who have those challenges. But anxiously attached men, they get chewed up and destroyed by women with personality disorders very often. They get utterly heartbroken. If you see false charges, if you see vicious lies, when you see those women who take a really good, loving husband and destroy him so that she can move a boyfriend in the next week while he's in jail for false charges, when you see that, that's not a normal woman. That is a woman with a severe personality disorder who is now actively harming other people for dopamine and pleasure. Okay? That's not normal. It feels like mortal terror, though, when an anxiously attached man just lovingly goes into this world and tries to find somebody to love and finds that and gets destroyed. If this is their only real experience with women, overwhelming fear and pain. Overwhelming mortal terror, especially if they experience this twice. Rules and power become justified against what they believe is evil women. Mean, awful women. Women are the problem, right? This is how they justify hurtful behaviors and using them against anxiously attached women. Because they say, oh, they're really evil. They're horrible. We know what they are. We know what's really lurking under that surface. It's a mask. We need to treat them this way to keep them in their place. We're going to spin plates, right? I'm going to treat women this way. Okay. No, not okay. This is what Red Pill does. Okay. Then they set up a system of juggling plates, running a harem of insecure women that they've coerced emotionally into being okay, sharing him. They gaslight these women. They control them. They manipulate them. In reality, that doesn't work, you guys. A lot of the Red Pill gurus that you guys follow, if you're watching this, it's one guy with a severe personality disorder, usually antisocial personality disorder, who has no care about legality and hurting other people and anything at all so that he can just get what he wants. Juggling a harem of women with borderline personality disorder who compete viciously against each other, not to be abandoned by him. Okay, you've seen gurus teaching about this on the world stage. That's why a lot of them end up being arrested for crimes afterward, is because they have no legal, ethical, moral values. It's just, how can I get this much pleasure at other people's expense? And those women they pull around them, they're the only ones who can control personality disorders because they themselves have a worse personality disorder. It tends to be how that goes. I'm just letting you guys know. None of this is how human bonding is supposed to work, except in the most extreme and broken situations. So if you follow these instructions, you're going to have wounded men and women trapped in a vicious cycle of hatred and blame and passing that on to the next generation. It even extends to the kids. Remember, Red Pill men don't just leave this at the door when they come home. I've spoken with plenty of daughters who say, I don't understand why. My parents got divorced. My dad started going on the internet. Now it's Red Pill this and women that and hypergamy this. I'm his daughter. And he yells at me about hypergamy. Now, guys, plenty of good men are going through this process. They're going through Red Pill. They think they're going to learn. They think they're going to learn how to get their needs met. They think it's going to make them confident and powerful. They don't try to take all the bad stuff, but they're learning avoidant attachment style. That's why they don't like themselves after going through this. That's why the guys who stay stuck in Red Pill circles are nasty, vicious, aggressive cult guys who come screaming at you the moment you challenge their cult, because it makes them feel safe. Comment section here, I bet, is going to be flooded. And that's okay. Be out of anger. It is what it is. But Red Pill is not a system for healthy, loving relationships. It's a system for wounded people to exploit other wounded people and to justify that hurt. So if you want a more loving, healthy relationship that's based on actual research, thorough documented science, not fake science that's political, but real, authentic, documented research, learn more about these bonding chemicals I talked about in this video. Learn more about secure attachment. Learn more about personality disorders and attachment styles and how they interact. See the patterns like I have seen the patterns and like so many others are seeing them. Look at the patterns and then decide for yourself. Okay? This is the only pathway to build a healthy, loving, fulfilling, romantic connection that lasts a lifetime, is to follow actual, real methods, not fear. I'm Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist. Thank you for sharing this moment with me in this time. Just remember, humans are designed to bond in very specific ways. Do not ignore the science. Don't listen to fearmongers. Don't listen to people online that want to scare you and tell you that power and dominance is all that matters, okay? Learn the science and apply that. Now, to do that, I recommend you get in touch with me on Instagram, where I am @AttachmentAdam. My DMs are open. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer your questions over there. I have a ton of material posted all over my Instagram feed about all of these brain chemicals and how bonding works. After you connect with me on Instagram, go watch my next video. 97% of people get this wrong about secure attachment. It will show you exactly what a secure relationship looks like so that you can build one for yourself and see how 50% of the population is living when they ignore all the crazy people out there. I will see you in that next video.